Hey everybody, I like to cook sometimes and today we're making chocolate pudding. So first things first, get your weigh scale out and we're going to measure out some chocolate. Begin by struggling to cut a piece of chocolate with your knife because you didn't use the serrated blade. Give up, get frustrated and bang it against the countertop. The dark chocolate should come about 100 grams in weight and a bit extra is fine because there's no such thing as too much chocolate. After this, you want to add about 15 grams of milk chocolate. The ratios are completely arbitrary and up to your preference as long as you have 115 grams of chocolate. Now go ahead and shave all the chocolate that you have. This will be significantly easy if you have a sharp knife. Keep in mind that for optimal control, you want to hold your knife with your thumb slightly above the handle. This results in smoother and more efficient cutting. Once the chocolate is chopped up, you want to grab it and put it in a separate dish. If you're doing what I'm doing here, odds are you have chocolatey hands. That's not a bad thing. On the screen, you'll see everything you need for the recipe. Half a cup of sugar, 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, half a cup heavy cream, 2.5 cups of whole milk, 115 grams of chopped chocolate, 5 tablespoons of salted butter, half a teaspoon of espresso powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And hiding along the edge there is 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. You'll also need 2 egg yolks. Separating an egg is fairly easy. Just crack your egg with a knife, put it at an angle as you separate the shells, and tip the yolk between the 2 shells until the white is separated. Go ahead and tip your yolk into a separate dish. Try not to break the yolk like I did, I'll show you why later on. Alright, do that for another egg and let's move on. Alright, in a medium-sized saucepan, you want to toss in your sugar, your cocoa powder, and your cornstarch. Go ahead and give it a whisk till it's nice and homogeneous. You don't need to worry about the lumps right now. Okay, once that's done, you want to go ahead and add in your 2 egg yolks. Notice that my egg yolk is stuck to the dish. This is what happens when it breaks early on. Okay, now toss in half a cup of heavy cream and whisk that together. It may take a while to come together, but it will happen eventually. Now at this point, you want to put your stove on and set it to medium flame. Put your saucepan back on and add your milk. What follows now is an 8-minute long arm workout. The footage you're seeing is about 8 minutes long and is sped up by 2000%. Keep in mind that you cannot stop whisking at any given point in this step. To know when to exactly stop whisking, just lift your whisk up and if the mixture has an even bubble coverage, you're golden. At this point, you want to kill the heat. Go ahead and add in your chopped chocolate, your vanilla extract and the coffee powder. It won't make your pudding taste like coffee, instead it will enhance the chocolate flavor. And last but not least, add in your 5 tablespoons of butter. Now, in all honesty, I would gently recommend using unsalted butter and controlling the salt level later. However, I find using salted butter here works perfectly fine. And once you're done struggling getting that last piece of butter out, you can go ahead with the next step. Now go ahead and mix everything together for a few minutes. The mixture should be hot enough to melt the chocolate and butter. Now this next step is very important. You always want to sieve your mixture. As you can see that this is a bit of a pain considering that the mixture is incredibly thick with like 7 C's. This will take a few minutes to get done, but it's definitely worth it and I will show you why soon. Once you're done passing the entire mixture to the sieve, don't forget to scrape the bottom. After passing everything through a sieve, I went ahead and washed it out. What you see there are tiny little dots of undissolved cornstarch. This is why it's very important to pass it through, otherwise you'll end up with lumpy pudding. Now to set this, you want to set it in the container which you're going to serve it in. Generally you would use a pudding cup like the one I'm using there, or you can also use a big bowl and serve it in a dish later on. And now to let these set, we put them in the fridge overnight. Okay, the pudding has been sitting in the fridge for 20 hours now and it seems like nothing to you because of movie magic. Notice the jiggle in the pudding. That's always a good sign. Alright, garnish rapid fire round. Grab your chocolate, grab your knife, chop chop chop, place and balance in a pretty manner, sprinkle some drinking chocolate on top for flavor and aesthetics, and boom, chocolate pudding. Now apparently at the time of recording this, it was International Best Friends Day, so I decided to share.